Good evening, students. Welcome to this session. In previous session, you learned about how you can create one-dimensional ND array using array function and arrange function. Today, we will learn how to create one-dimensional array using linspace function and from iter function. So let us now talk about how to create one-dimensional array using linspace function. Now creating numping array using linspace function. Actually, the linspace function is the tool for creating numeric sequences. That means this function takes a start value, end value, and the number of elements to be created as arguments and creates one-dimensional array. Just you see the syntax of the linspace function. Here is first of all the array name equals to numpy.linspace. Then the parameter is a start value, then the stop value, and number of elements. Although the sequences can also be created by using arrange functions that you have learned in previous section, but linspace is different from the arrange functions. And what's the difference that I am telling you? First of all, we just consider about the syntax and why we need linspace functions. Students, sometimes we need evenly spaced element between two given limits. In such situation, linspace is useful. This function provides the start value, the end value, and the number of elements to be generated for the array. So here start value, stop value, and number of elements. Number of elements means the number of values to be generated for the array in between the start and stop values. Now consider the example. Here we import numpy as np, and you are very much familiar with this statement. Now the statement is a equals to np dot linspace 2.5, 5, 6. Here a is the array name, np is an identifier of numpy that is assumed in the imported statement, and linspace is the functions. Here 2.5 is the start value and 5 is the stop value and 6 is the number of elements to be generated for the array. So whenever we print the A, so what's the output? The output will be 2.5 and then 3, then 3.5, 4, 4.5 and 5. That means when we count it, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That means how many elements? There are 6 elements. So the start value is 2.5 and the final value or stop value is 5 and 6 number of elements. It means between these two limits the array is divided into 6 different elements. So we can say the array with 6 value falling in range 2.5 to 5. Now move to the next. Creating ND arrays using from iter function. The form-iter function is used to create an ND array by using an iterable object and returns a one-dimensional array object. In other words, we can say these functions can be used to create ND arrays from sequences of all types, that is numeric sequences or string sequences or dictionaries, etc. Student, the difference between these functions and previous three functions are basically the previous three functions, that is array function, arrange function and lean space function, can be used for creating array in numerical sequence. But this function can be used for both numeric sequences as well as non-numeric sequences. That means non-numeric sequence means the string sequences, dictionaries and etc. Now, this function is useful when we want to create an ND array from a non-numeric sequence. However, this function supports all types of sequences, that is numeric or non-numeric. Now consider the syntax. Now the syntax is array name equals to numpy dot form iter, then the parameter is iterable object, data type and optionally count. Here array name is the name of the array and from iter is the function. Iterable objects represents iterable sequence name and data type represents the data type of the resultant array items or values, or we can say the target values, and count represents the number of elements to read from the buffer in the array. So now consider this example. Here once again we take a statement import numpy as np. That means np is the variable assuming numpy, and here we create the list. The lst is the variable and lst equals to 0, 2, 4, 6. That means here list is created consisting of 4 values, that is 0, 2, 4 and 6. Now in the another statement we take the variable it equals to iter, that means iterable of lst, and the next here a is the array name, a equals to np dot form iter it, that means iterable object of list, and d type equals to float. In fact, the list is stored as integer value of 0, 2, 4 and 6, and here we give the data type as float. So this integer value can be changed to the float of value, and whenever we print the array, namely a, print a, then what's the result or output? So the array is created 0 point, it consists also 0.0, then 2 point, 4 point and 6 point. That means here in the list we give the value as an integer and here store the value in array in float. That means 0.0, 2.0, 4.0, 6.0. In this example, we create the array by utilizing list and form iter function. Now let us consider another example. Now to create ND array from individual letters of a string using form iter function. Now here we first import numpy as np, and here st is the string variable and the value computer is assigned to the value st. Now the next sentence, a equals to np dot form iter, here st is the string name and d type equals to u2. U2, this data type means Unicode, and 2 is the length of the character. You can define U1, U2, U3, U4, and after this slide, next slide, the list of data type is given and you can read it about all the data types, and that can be utilized for define the data type. Now come to the point. So here a equals to np dot form iter st means the string computer, and d type u2. So when this array is created and when we print the array, then the string individual letter is created as an element of the array like C, O, M, P, U, T, sorry, this one is E, not U, E, R, and all these values are stored to the array A. Similarly, now by utilizing form iter function, create ND array from dictionary. You have learned the dictionary previously. Just consider this example. Import numpy as np, dt equals to 1, then a, that means 1 is the key and a is the value. And the dictionary created 3 keys, 1, 2, 3, and the value is A, B, C. Now the next statement, a equals to np dot form iter, dt is the variable of dictionary, and d type equals to np dot int32. We can define integer functions in a different storage range, that is int16, int34, 32, int64, etc. In this example, the functions form iter will create an ND array that will have the key of dictionary dt as the elements of the ND array A. And in the previous example, the form iter function is creating ND array from a string with data type u2, and that means each element of ND array can have length of 2 Unicode characters. So students, you have learned to create ND array by utilizing 4 functions, by using array functions, arrange function, then linspace functions, and lastly form iter function. So in the next session we will discuss some other functions that can also be utilized to create array. Thank you and have a nice day.